So, Lizzo has just released her first Substack post called "Why is everybody losing weight and what do we do?" Sincerely, a person who's lost weight. And in it, she says, these are her words, that she was sick and tired of my identity being overshadowed by my fatness. She says people couldn't see her talent because they were too busy accusing me of making being fat my whole personality. And honestly, reading that, I just sat there thinking, is she serious? Because I only know Lizzo because she spent years building her entire brand around body positivity. She proudly embraced being the first mainstream body positive musician. Again, her words, not mine. She trolled the memes. Her words, not mine. She made her size part of her empowerment message. Again, all her words, not mine. Yet now, suddenly, it was everyone else who turned her weight into her identity, as if she didn't show up to interviews and talk about it constantly.
I think that people should naturally be body positive, and body positivity should be something that is like built in our culture.
I had a song called "I'm in Love with Myself," and I put that out in like 2015, and I was performing it on stage, and it would shock people. They would be like, "Oh my God, how dare she?" Or "Wow, she's so brave," or "Is she serious? Does she really love herself?" And I'm like, why y'all asking all these damn questions? Like, what are you questioning about me and my body and my love for myself? So at this point, I realized that my mere existence is a form of activism, especially in the body positive community, and I wear that hat really well, or not wear that hat at all, according to this book. It's so interesting that body positivity is a thing, but body negativity isn't.
Right.
And I think it's because body negativity is the norm.
Sure.
It's what's expected. So body positivity is this novel idea. Yes, you'll have days where you're like, I used to look like this, now I look like this. I don't necessarily feel comfortable with that. But don't listen to what these people are trying to sell you about how you should look. Normalize growing comfortable with your body. Don't normalize trying to change your body.
As if she didn't literally write essays about fatness. As if she didn't show up to a family-friendly NBA game wearing pants that were cut out so that when she stood up, she was wearing nothing but a thong so we could see her arse jiggle while she twerked in front of families, children. She was on the Jumbotron. She wanted the attention. If you don't want that kind of attention, you would probably cover your genital area a little bit more. That's just my opinion. Call me crazy.
You're crazy!
You can't physically do more to make your size part of your brand than that. And then she says, again, quoting her, that the way she was treated was borderline emotional abuse. But here's the issue. You cannot spend years making body positivity the center of your brand and then turn around and blame the public for noticing. She says she started losing weight unintentionally during the 2023 scandal, which I'll get to in a moment, but she's also admitted to trying Ozempic and GLP-1 drugs. Which one is it? Depression weight loss or pharmaceutical assistance? I don't get it. There are a lot of holes in her story, which again we'll get to in a moment, but this isn't about her losing weight. She can do whatever she wants. It's her body. Gain weight, lose weight, who cares? But this is about narrative. This new post reads like a complete rewriting of the last 5 years, a version of events where we somehow forced Lizzo to make her weight her brand. And instead of acknowledging the very obvious truth, which she made millions, by the way, doing this, she was the one who made it her brand. She was the one who did it. She was the one who profited. She was the one who built a whole identity around it. And pretending otherwise is just insulting to everyone's memory. So let's get into the holes in Lizzo's story, because once you actually sit with what she wrote, the contradictions start piling up fast. First, Lizzo knows exactly what it feels like, she claims, to be falsely accused. In 2023, several former backup dancers accused her of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Lizzo denied every allegation immediately and publicly. And for me, personally, I believe her. I don't like what she's written in her Substack post, but I believe her innocence, and I'll explain why. After hearing those dancers' claims, I watched numerous interviews with them. I've heard their lawyers speak. To me, this is just my opinion, it looked like people wanting a payout. And the accusations, again, to me, never felt solid or consistent.
Lizzo intended to hit you at one point after you resigned. Do you really think that she was going to resort or could resort to physical violence?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, the facts of that were that she actually balled up her fist like this to me. She started cracking her knuckles. And she was like, you're so effing lucky that basically I'm not gonna hit you. And, you know, I was in shock watching her do that and cracking her knuckles and acting as if she was gonna come at me. And for a second I was like, you know, I don't think she's gonna do that. Like, that's not what's gonna happen. But the fact that one of her dancers, all of us were present, all the dancers were present for mostly all of these allegations. And in that meeting that we had where she got physical and was about to assault me.
Back in July, 3 dancers filed a lawsuit against the singer and her production company, alleging sexual and racial harassment, even assault, plus creating a hostile work environment. Lizzo is denying it all, defiant for all to see. From shopping sprees in Beverly Hills to popping up at Beyonce's show in LA. For years, Lizzo has been known for promoting body positivity and self-love.
Could Lizzo have been inappropriate at work sometimes? Sure, anything is possible. She is human, she jokes around, she's blunt. But sexual harassment is a very specific and serious accusation. So my point is, I bring that up because Lizzo knows what it's like to feel attacked, misunderstood, blindsided, and painted as something she doesn't believe she is. Which is why it's so confusing and honestly disappointing that she turns around and then accuses the entire public of making her weight her personality. If she hates being generalized, why is she generalizing millions of people? Yes, some were cruel, but some people on the internet are cruel to everybody. That is not society. That's a few bad apples. If you're a public figure, even if you're not, if you're on the internet at all, people will be cruel to you. It's not fair, but that's what it is. There is going to be a con with every pro. That's life. And the truth is, Lizzo wasn't just reduced to her weight, as she puts it. She actively built her brand around it, from what I see. She marketed it. She celebrated it. She talked about it constantly. It was part of her message, her music, her interviews, her identity. So now pretending she had nothing to do with that, well, that's convenient. And it's not accountability. To me, that's complete revision. So the next hole is when she writes about how she started losing weight unintentionally, she claims, because she was depressed during the scandal, which I believe. I think if you're accused, as she claims falsely, of something severe, I can understand how you would stop eating. I do think that would affect your appetite. She said she was isolated, she was not taking care of herself. But what confuses me is then she later admits to using Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs.
I've tried everything.
Lizzo admits she tried Ozempic amid her weight loss transformation. The singer shares she's tried Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs.
I've tried everything. It's just the science for me, calories in versus calories out. Ozempic works because you eat less food.
So which is it? Did the weight come off naturally during the crisis? Or did she later accelerate it with medication? And there's nothing wrong with using the medication, in my opinion. I think, again, if you are an adult and you can consent, you can do whatever you want. It is your body. But what doesn't add up is the timeline. She says the weight came off unintentionally, but also intentionally, naturally, but also pharmaceutically. And again, those two things don't sit together for me. And instead of clarifying it, I mean, this Substack post, which I've read here through the Daily Mail, it almost frames her weight loss as this spiritual transformation. Something poetic and symbolic, when she herself has already said publicly she tried Ozempic after skirting around the issue for a long time. And again, she can do what she wants. She's an adult. If she wants to be dishonest, technically she can be. But the story doesn't add up. And if you're putting things out there for public consumption, don't be surprised when people question the holes in your story, especially when they're the ones you're blaming for something that I think you did, which is make weight your whole personality. Even now, you are smaller, yet you are still talking about weight. Is it our fault you wrote this Substack essay? Are you going to blame us for writing this somehow? I don't get it. And speaking of holes, there's another one. To me, the biggest hole of all. Lizzo says she was sick and tired of her identity being overshadowed by her fatness. But if that's true, why did she talk about it constantly? I will put in clips here and you can see exactly what I mean.
Why food great till I gotta lose weight? Or whatever Lizzo said.
So I think when people try to feign concern for people, oh, well, you did it the easy way out, or oh, you should really lose weight, you're gonna have health problems. You're just still bullying fat people. Just shut the fuck up.
I did it. Told y'all I was gonna bump like this. I'm just me. The world is ready for self-love.
After 2 years of strength training, calorie counting, and even a joke acknowledging all the fans who think she's on Ozempic, Lizzo shared she's dropped 16% body fat and has met her weight loss goal, a number she hasn't seen on the scale since 2014. Lizzo's always been a champion for embracing one's curves. Her reality competition show, Watch Out for the Big Girls, earned her an Emmy Award.
Lizzo is a classically trained flutist. She is supposedly an incredibly skilled musician, and I didn't know that for years. And the reason is I'm not really in tune with #1 hits or what's popular in the charts. I'm not in that loop. But all I ever saw of Lizzo were her interviews on podcasts, at radio stations, and her talking about her weight, her body positivity, being big, being thick, being confident, being curvy, being fat and proud. That's all I ever saw. The headlines were her, like I said, at NBA games, twerking on the Jumbotron in a thong. But it's my fault for even looking or commenting on it. And even now, after losing weight, she's still talking about her weight. So if it overshadowed her talent, it's because she kept putting it front and center, and she continues to do so. She is the one making her weight her identity, big or small. But instead of owning that, she blames the audience, and that is the hypocrisy. You can't say, I'm tired of weight defining me, when you have spent your entire career making weight the headline. Here's why Lizzo's Substack post to me feels very manipulative, and I don't trust people who do this kind of thing. Again, these are all my opinions. Feel free to disagree. You let me know down in the comments below if I am being too harsh. I don't think I am. The entire essay reads like a classic case of gaslighting and projection. She's taking something she very clearly did, which was making her weight central to her brand. I mean, these are words that came out of her mouth, and projecting it onto the public as if we all collectively forced this identity on her. And it turns the audience into this villain, even though she was the one steering the narrative for years. She says she was overshadowed by her fatness, but she framed herself that way. She says people accused her of making weight her personality, but she spent years doing exactly that. And by rewriting history, in my opinion, she positions herself as the victim of a story she actually wrote, and she continues to write. But this time, who will she blame? Who will she blame for this Substack post? Who's making her write this? That's why this post feels manipulative to me. You did something you don't like. You don't seem to be able to handle the truth about it. So you are blaming and generalizing millions of people for something you did. And you made millions off of it by association. Whether it was singing about it in your music, it became your brand and you made money off your brand. Her piece is asking the audience to doubt what we saw, what we heard, and what we watched her say repeatedly for half a decade more. And that is where this revisionism crosses into something that, in my opinion, looks a lot like emotional sleight of hand. If she wants to talk about emotional abuse, I think it's not too far-fetched to suggest she looks in the mirror if she's willing to blame the public for something she clearly did. At the end of the day, Lizzo can lose weight, gain weight, take medication, change her mind, reinvent herself. All of that is completely fine. What isn't fine is pretending the audience invented a narrative she pushed harder than anyone. And that's the part that feels manipulative. That's the part that feels like gaslighting to me. You cannot build an entire brand around body positivity, show up to interviews and public events, making your size the headline on purpose, and then rewrite history by saying everyone else made your weight your personality. Lizzo didn't get overshadowed by her fatness. She built a spotlight around it. And now that she wants a different story, now that she's thinner, she's blaming the people who simply watched the one she told. They are my thoughts for today. Let me know yours down below. Let's open up the conversation there. Have you read the article? Do you believe that Lizzo is revising history, let's say? Or do you think it's fair what she said? Is it our fault she made her entire brand being fat? Let me know what you think. Thank you for listening, and bye.